If you feel like you are drowning at work, that everything is a priority and you're not sure what to focus on first, watch this video. Because I sat down with productivity expert Sean Blanc, and he's going to share his 4-step approach to getting out of this kind of crisis zone and getting you to a place where work and life actually feel in balance. Ooh, and before you worry, this is not some kind of gimmicky,
wake up at 5 a.m. and then you'll be productive bullshit.
No. This is a simple 4-step process that honestly you could start doing in the next 10 minutes and it will make a big difference. I've tried it myself. It works.
There's like the emergency, okay, let's stop the bleeding. And then it's like, okay, now let's slow down and begin to get some momentum in the right direction. So what I usually do for like the emergency, let's stop the bleeding, is just a simple process of beginning to plan out just one day at a time. And when you're in the midst of like all that toxic urgency, let's just assume that you have the agency to be able to affect that you actually have the opportunity to make some decisions about how you're spending your time. If you're in a corporate work environment, if you're working for a boss who's maybe narcissistic or has 75 ideas before they come into work and is always changing your priorities, that's kind of a whole different approach to kind of manage up with your managers. But if you have some agency for your time and you're able to make those decisions and manage how you're doing your day, stop the bleeding by simply kind of one day at a time, looking at, all right, for tomorrow, what is the most important thing that I need to get done? What is the thing that matters the most? And then just picking that one thing. And it could be as simple as like, I've got this one client email that I've been trying to get back to, and I just keep putting it off and it's just weighing on me. So I just need to respond to their email. It's only going to take me 15 stinking minutes, but for whatever reason, I haven't done it, right? So it could be something small that feels simple, but for whatever reason, it's just, you're blocked. Or it could be something bigger if you're like, I've got to decide the pricing on my new flagship product, or I've got to go through all the customer feedback and analyze, the big 1 or 2 buckets of pain points, whatever it is. So the point is, you've simply decided what's most important tomorrow. That's really what you're trying to get to. It's not what it is, it's that you made a decision. And then you want to put that onto your calendar that says, this is when I'm going to do that thing. And so then tomorrow, your only job is to show up for that one thing that you said you're going to do. Everything else on the day doesn't even matter. Because you're dealing with toxic urgency, everything's kind of coming at you anyways. So you're reacting to a ton of stuff. Just that one moment of, this is what I said mattered most, and this is what I'm going to do about it. And you show up for it and actually do the thing. And we find that that is one of the biggest reasons that most people are stuck in just a reactive, urgent environment, is the failure to follow through on the commitments that we make. So decide anything and then put it on your calendar, say, here's when I'm going to do it, and then show up for it. And then Layla, this is the last piece, and we could even talk about this more because it completes the whole cycle. It's a flywheel. But then if you did the thing, you sent the email, you decided the pricing, you went through the feedback, whatever it is, pause to celebrate somehow. Either hey, I'm going to open, I'm going to have a beer, or I'm going to go out for a walk, or I'm going to text my friend and tell them I did the thing that was really hard, or I'm going to cross it off the list. Whatever it is that to you feels like a way to celebrate that you actually did what you said you were going to do, that helps complete that cycle. And then you just kind of keep doing that. So that's the short-term version of stopping the bleeding. Is it's beginning to work the muscle of identifying the things that matter most and then following through with those more consistently.
Got it. Let me repeat that back, make sure I got the process down. And then I want to ask a question about toxic urgency, because we've used that word a few times and I want to break it down. But so I understand, first thing we're doing is checking, is there active bleeding? If there is, we're making that top list of here's the thing that needs to get done. Then we're making a block for that thing, doing the thing, and then celebrating doing the thing. And that's all kind of our triage in a medical emergency, productivity wise.
Absolutely.
Right?
And when you're feeling the overwhelm and just everything's crazy, everything's on fire, yes, that is, there's active bleeding. There's obviously a problem. This is not a healthy work environment. We don't want to stay here. We want to get out. So, you start
Okay, so this is all just This is roadside assistance. But can you take a second and define toxic urgency for us? Because I feel like that's kind of the key to understanding how I know if I'm in an emergency room situation or if I just have a headache.
Yeah, absolutely. So urgency in and of itself, and there's, Stephen Covey kind of normalized this and popularized this several decades ago, and it's still very relevant and very prevalent for us today. Urgency just means that something isn't like urgent. There's a time bound importance to it. Toxic
Mm,
urgency is when you use those time bound important things and impose them either on yourself or on your staff or your clients to create a sense of importance to something that's not actually important. And so
mm,
oftentimes toxic urgency it's usually very avoidable just through,
mhm,
processes and systems and a little bit of planning ahead. It's also avoidable through maturity and adulting and checking your ego at the
mhm,
door. So we find a lot of organizations, my own included, a lot of the urgency within my organization was just because of my own ego. I thought I knew best. I had a fresh idea. I'm excited about it. Stop everything. We're going to do this new thing. And it just comes from a
mm.
complete lack of clarity and, shiny object syndrome, et cetera. So toxic urgency comes about when all of the priorities within your business are based on either the emotions of the founder, the latest idea of the founder, or just through a lack of planning and a lack of being intentional about the direction you're trying to go.
Interesting. And so the difference, if I can just contrast this with real urgency and toxic urgency, is kind of the source. It sounds like what's driving you to set this deadline? Is it artificial or real? Is
Yeah.
that the differentiator?
Yeah. If the website goes down, that's a real
Yeah.
urgent issue. If
Mhm.
your YouTube channel gets hacked, that is a real urgent issue. That's like,
Mhm.
no, we need to deal with this right now. But if you're
Mhm.
always coming in, things are always important. There's always urgency behind it. We got to get to this, and there's just this frantic sense of the overwhelm, and things are on fire
Mm.
constantly. That's
Mhm.
not, that's not a calm, sustainable work environment.
Ooh, heads up. If you're enjoying this interview style content, would you mind writing the word interview in the comments? That'll act as a vote to let me know to produce more videos like this. It costs you nothing, and it really helps me know what to create and helps YouTube show this video to more people. Thanks so much, and back to the video.
But there's gonna be people listening to this, Sean, who are like, "Yeah, but, like, if we don't have urgency, we're just all gonna be lazy and sitting on our asses and, like, we've
Yep.
got nothing to do, and time will expand to the time we give it." Sorry, work will
Right.
expand to the time we give it.
Yeah.
What do you say to that?
That's where those four little steps come in. Because what you want to do is in any work environment, I mean, I've got 3 kids at home. I also have 2 full-time employees, and they work the same in that what gets rewarded is what will get repeated. And so with your team and with your staff, the things that you want them to repeat should be the things that you reward. And so I take that pause to just identify what is it that really matters most for tomorrow? What's the one thing that I'm going to use to define success for my day tomorrow? If you can identify that, and then just the process of then planning for it. Well, here's what I'm going to work on it. I'm going to work on it at
Mhm.
10:30 in the morning. Once I've gotten through XYZ, then 10:30 I'm going to work on this for 30 minutes. And then if you show up
Mhm.
and do it, like that is a healthy productivity cycle. You've done a healthy thing of identifying what mattered. You had a plan for it, so you were intentional. You exercised your agency for that. You showed up
Mhm.
to actually do it. So now you want to reward that cycle with that final step of celebrating or recognizing that progress somehow. And this begins
Mm.
to rewire us from only being able to focus on things that are on fire. When we have
Mhm.
that toxic urgency and we're used to that, it becomes very
Mhm.
difficult to give our attention to things that are actually most important, but aren't on fire right now. And it's, oh, there's not a
Yeah.
crisis for this. A lot of, we see this a lot outside of work as well with things like physical health or relationships or, your
Mm.
hobbies and your interests that matter to you. If it's not a crisis, we often think, well, that can be pushed off to tomorrow. That can be pushed off to tomorrow, whatever.
Mhm.
And then pretty soon, well, now you have a health crisis, or now you have a relationship crisis, or now you have a financial crisis because you were ignoring it because it didn't seem important because it wasn't on fire. Well, now it is. So you have to retrain
Mhm.
yourself to be able to show up for the things that are most important, not when they're on fire, but ahead of time, proactively.
I love that. Yeah, and this is one of the things that I think you and I nerded out about not too long ago. Just the shift that's required to go from firefighting to fire prevention. And it's just
Mhm.
less sexy. And they're like, "Oh, my business is going to be so boring if I'm maintaining my website rather than waiting for it to crash." But
Right.
like actually, it's kind of nice.
Right? I would love to have a boring business that lets me get 8 hours of sleep every night, where my turnover for my
Mhm.
team is close to 0, where we know
Mhm.
where our next customer is coming from, where we know when new customers come in exactly the process we're gonna take them through. Like, yes, it is
Mhm.
boring, but it's
Mhm.
also phenomenal because it allows you then to be extravagant and wild and creative on the other sides, on the fringes, and on like developing something that's new and building on top of it. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of boring.
All right, before we wrap up, there was one thing I have learned over the years, and that's if you watch this content and just watch it, it's great. It might feel good, but it might not change anything. It's not consuming information that changes your life, it's action. And you are more likely to take action if you tell somebody else about it. So let's practice that here before we even wrap up this video. What I'd like you to do is go down to the comments below this YouTube video and commit to your one thing that you're going to focus on in your next workday. What is the one top non-negotiable priority that actually matters? Write it in the comments to give yourself permission to focus just on that and leave everything else for later. Put it down there? Great. If you'd like to learn more about Sean and focus like a boss while you're down there leaving your comment, you can find his information in the description below. Oh, and one reminder, if you are a ProcessDriven member, keep in mind this full-length interview, which is about an hour long, and SOPs, task templates, and everything you need to implement this inside your work management tool is waiting for you inside the library, inside the membership. So check that out if you haven't already. Either way, thanks for watching, like and subscribe, and until next time, enjoy the process.